Hey everybody, and welcome to Señor Spanish course, Lección 5. I hope you're finding these videos useful, and if you are, you can go ahead and click the link here to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any lessons. We do about 2 a week. Today's lesson is a pretty short one, but a really important one. It's over the gender of nouns in Spanish and then articles in Spanish. So let's just dive right in. Okay. ¿Qué es un sustantivo? ¿Qué es un sustantivo? Un sustantivo es una persona, un lugar, o una cosa. So, maybe have you figured out what a sustantivo means? It means noun. It's the Spanish word for noun. So, it's a person, place, or thing. You probably know that already, but it's just anything that's a person, place, or thing. So, rock, cat, boy, woman, Rome, spaghetti, they're all nouns. Person, place, or thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about 2 qualities that nouns have. And the first quality is number. So they can be either singular or plural. And the second quality, the one that we're really going to talk about today, is their gender. So in English, nouns can be masculine or feminine or neuter. And so a masculine noun would be a noun that is a male, it refers to a male. So man is a masculine noun. Father, brother, boy, those are all masculine nouns. Feminine nouns would be things that refer to females. So woman, girl, mother, sister, grandmother, those are all feminine nouns. And then in English, a neuter noun is anything that's not male or female. So chair, door, mirror, those are all neuter nouns. And that's in English. However, in Spanish, they only have 2 genders. They have masculine or feminine. So all nouns are either masculine or feminine. So I mentioned that once before. So things like chair is a feminine noun. And something like dress, a dress is a masculine noun. So, it's something that to a lot of English speakers seems completely pointless and just like they're complicating their language for no reason. And, it is what it is. It's an important part of the Spanish language, and it's something that you're going to have to get used to, is not having the option of using having neuter nouns. And so it's something that will continue to trip you up and cause problems for quite a while. So it's just something to get used to. We're going to start off slow, but it's a really important thing to learn in Spanish. So let's do it. So the gender-related endings. So in Spanish, gender is just randomly assigned, and you have to know the gender of every single noun in Spanish in order to talk properly. Every noun. And I know that sounds like a really big task, and it is a really big task, but luckily there are some guidelines that can help us know a noun's gender. So just keep in mind that some nouns don't follow these guidelines at all. So it's not as easy as we'd hoped. But there's a lot of things you're just going to have to memorize about whether it's masculine or feminine. But the endings help us. So the key to knowing whether a noun is masculine or feminine most of the time is by looking at its ending. And I bet a lot of you already know that the majority of Spanish nouns end in either an A or an O. And so that A or O is the key to knowing its gender. Most nouns that end in an O are masculine, and most nouns that end in an A are feminine. So there are exceptions to that. There's something like the word mano, which is for hand, that's feminine. So there's things like that you're just going to have to memorize. And some don't end or an A or an O at all. So let's look at the endings. So masculine ending, so O, that's the big one. Something ends in an O, it's usually masculine. But there's other things. MA, these are words that come from the Greek and have been switched over into Latin, and they'll end in an MA. So there'll be a word like problema, problem, and you think, oh, A, that ends in an A, it's la problema, but it's actually not. It ends in an MA, and so that makes it masculine. So watch out for the ma endings. Ahe, be masculine. Or, so if something ends in or, it's masculine. And if it ends in an accented vowel, so this would be something like ruby or sofa. Those end in accented vowels, and those are masculine. Feminine endings, a is the big one. This is the majority of feminine nouns, but by no means all. Sion or sion, that is a key to being feminine. They're always going to be feminine when it ends like that. So, and there's a lot of nouns that end that way too. Educación. Dad. So if it ends in dad, then it's going to be feminine, like universidad. And if it ends in itis, which isn't a lot of nouns, but there's, just like in English we have itis, bronchitis, and conjunctivitis. Well, it's the same thing. So those are all feminine. Okay, let's look at some examples. So we've got masculine nouns and feminine nouns. You don't really need to know what these words mean, I'll tell you, but you don't have to memorize them. We're just using them as examples today. So the first one, el perro, you might know that one, it means dog. That's just kind of your standard, ends in an O and it's masculine. So that's most masculine nouns. And then la cebra, or la cebra, which means the zebra, that is a feminine noun, so just your standard A ending, so it's feminine. We have el problema, which I mentioned before. It's that it has an MA ending, so you don't want to get tricked by that A. It doesn't have an A ending and has an MA ending, so just be careful about that. El garaje, that means garage, garaje, and it's that aje ending. El calor, the heat, it has that OR ending, so it's masculine. And el sofá, so that's that accented vowel, so it's masculine. So those are our other masculine endings. Let's look at some of the feminine. So we have la educación, so that's that sion ending. It's pretty common and it's always feminine, so it's kind of nice. And la honestidad, so honesty, that is feminine, ends in dad. And la bronchitis, so that's bronchitis, that itis ending. That's not very common, but it's always feminine. So I just want to show you some different kinds of nouns also. So here we have one noun that can be either one. It can be masculine or feminine. El estudiante, la estudiante. And that just depends on if you are talking about a male student or a female student. So it can be in either category. Let's see. El niño and la niña. So this is a word that's ending can change if the gender changes. So the boy, the girl. A lot of occupations are like that too. So we just switch the O to an A, and then we've got a feminine version of that. The writer, el escritor or la escritora. So this is another common ending that for nouns that can change if it ends in OR. Because that OR basically is the same as the ER, like writer in English. So el escritor if it's male, and then if it's female, escritora. There's lots of things. Explorador, exploradora. So you just add an A at the end of OR words to make them feminine. Okay, these are two just blatant rule breakers. Okay, there are some. El mapa, that ends in an A, and it's masculine. It just is. So it just blatantly ends in an A, but still dares to be masculine. It just does that. I don't know why. There's some words that do, but it is. And the same thing with la mano, which means the hand. It's a really common word, so it's an important one to know. And it ends in an O, and it's just feminine. So no, you just have to memorize it. There's no trick or anything to know, like, oh, why is it feminine? It just is. It ends in an O, and it's feminine. Then here I have a word, el reloj. That means the clock. And it ends in a J. So it just has no ending to go on. You just have to memorize that it's a masculine noun. There's no way to look at the word reloj and know what its gender is. You just have to memorize that it's masculine. And the same way I have la miel, which means honey, the honey. And and that has it ends in an L. There's no trick to that. It's just you just have to memorize that it's a feminine noun. So those are the kind of things. So most of them are going to have those endings, but there's enough that don't have endings that break the rules that you really have to memorize some things. So that should help. Okay, articles. So what is an article? An article is a word that we have in English and in Spanish and in several other languages. Like it goes with a noun. So it's usually just a short word that just goes with a noun. So our English articles are the, and then and and. So those are the three articles that we have in English. So there's two kinds of articles that we're going to talk about, and that's the definite article. So we use that when we're talking about a specific thing. So I would say, I saw the Goodyear blimp today. I didn't just see a blimp. I didn't see any blimp. I saw a very specific blimp. I saw the Goodyear blimp. So that's why I use the. The indefinite ones are and that's just if I saw a blimp on the way home today. Just any blimp, nothing special. So those are the articles. The definite article, the, and the indefinite articles, and. So in Spanish, they also have the same thing, definite and indefinite articles. However, we have to use a different one depending on the gender and the number of the noun that goes with it. So that gives us four kinds of nouns. It gives us singular masculine nouns, singular feminine nouns, plural masculine nouns, and plural feminine nouns. So we have four kinds of nouns. So we're going to have 4 definite articles and 4 indefinite articles. So English has 3 articles, Spanish has 8 articles. So that's something that you'll have to get used to. And here they are. Here's the articles. El for masculine and singular, los for masculine and plural, la for feminine and singular, las for feminine and plural. So we would say el niño, los niños, la niña, las niñas. So those are all words that mean the, and we have to use the right article with the right word depending on its masculine and its if it's masculine or feminine, and if it's singular or plural. And then the indefinite articles, there's 4 of them again. If something is singular and masculine, we use un. Masculine and plural, we use unos. Feminine and singular, we use una. Plural and feminine, we use unas. So a child, a boy, un niño. Some kids, some boys, unos niños. A girl, una niña. Some girls, unas niñas. So there you have it. There's the 8 articles in Spanish. El, la, los, las, un, una, unos, unas. So they're not that hard. You probably know those words already, and they're pretty similar. So when I teach you a new noun, I'm going to give it to you with its singular definite article, el or la. So that's going to be your clue to know if it's what its gender is. So that way, if I teach you the word for clock, I'm not just going to say reloj, because you need to know if it's masculine or feminine. So I'm going to teach you the word for clock. I'm going to teach you el reloj, and you can look at that el and know that means that reloj is a masculine noun. Okay. One big exception. So this is something that you don't come across that often, but it's something you really have to know, and that is singular feminine nouns beginning with an accented A take the masculine article. So the example I used here was águila, which means eagle, and if you want to say the eagle, you're going to say el águila. It's feminine, but it takes the word el, because having that el, that la, and then a together, it just doesn't sound very good in Spanish. So like say la águila, you have this like long ah, like these 2 ah sounds together. So they switched it to el. So it's el águila, but then when it's plural, it's las águilas. because that S in there, you no longer have that problem. Un águila, so there it took the masculine one again, and then unas águilas, so now it's back to the feminine. So it's only when they're singular they take the masculine article. They're not masculine nouns, it doesn't make them masculine, but they just take the masculine article because it sounds bad to say la águila. And so if I ever teach you a noun that is like that, I'll make sure that you know that, if I'm going to teach you the word for eagle, I'll say el águila, which, by the way, that's feminine. So I have a few other examples. So look, agua, that is a feminine noun, but it takes the masculine in the singular. So it's el agua, the water, las aguas, un agua, unas aguas. So I know that A doesn't have an actual accent mark on it, but it's still accented. We don't say el agua, it's el agua. So the first syllable is accented, it's stressed, and so that's why it gets the L and un. Then we have hacha, which means axe, and there's an H there, but that H is silent, remember? So it still needs the L. So it's el hacha, las hachas, un hacha, and unas hachas. So just because there's an H there, that H is silent, so it still gets the masculine. And then the last example here, I have anguila, which is, it means an eel, like the fish. And note which syllable is stressed in that? Anguila. It's the second one. It's not anguila, it's anguila. And since the second syllable is stressed, not the first one, it doesn't need L and un. It takes the feminine articles in all four examples. La anguila, las anguilas, una anguila, and unas anguilas. So it's just a little trick thing, that trips people up sometimes, is whenever the first syllable begins with an A sound and it's stressed, then you have to switch la to L and una to un. Alright, so I know it's something that you see every once in a while, but it can really trip you up, so remember that. Okay, when to use an article. Now, this is a very complex topic in Spanish, but I'm going to make it really simple and just say that we use it much more often than in English, especially the definite articles. So there's lots of times when we use the article in Spanish that we don't use it in English. And you're going to be like, why are they saying L there? Why do you need that? And you just do. So here's 3 cases that I wanted to say are important. So when talking about all of a group. So in English, we'd say elephants are big, right? I mean, there's no article at all there. We don't say the elephants are big. We say the elephants are big, we're referring to like the ones that we see, right? But in Spanish, if they want to say elephants are big, they say los elefantes son grandes. So the entire group of elephants, all the elephants in the world, are big. Los elefantes son grandes. So that's one time. Before days and months, el lunes, el septiembre. So they're going to say, like if you want to say like on Monday I have an exam, you would say el lunes, the Monday I have an exam. And if you want to say September is a cold month, el septiembre es un mes frío. So they always take, they're masculine, days and months are masculine, and they always take, they usually almost always take articles. So just so you know. And the last one that I want to point out right now is before a person's title when not addressing them directly. So el Señor G es amable. Señor G is nice. Well, I hope that's true. And so we actually are saying the Mr. G is amable. So when you're talking about a señor, el doctor, la señora, so when you're talking about them, you're usually going to put those articles. So that's just, I want to put those 3 cases for you to know right now when you use an article. and then there's other times that we won't worry about now. So we'll get to that later, but those are the 3 to know right now. Materiales adicionales, so click the link in the description for a worksheet. I don't have it up right this second, but probably by the time you watch this video, it'll be up. And hasta la próxima. So suscríbete a mi canal, subscribe to my channel, and this is the last lesson from Unit 1, so next time we're just going to have a little short review, and then we will start with Unit 2. So, thanks a lot. See you later.